G'day, Noxie here. How you doing? Lap guide to Sebring, and for all you Americans out there, yes, we know it used to be an airport. Yes, and yes, we know it has bumps. And from our point of view, we think you should just repave it and get rid of the bumps. But there you go. Anyway, Sebring, probably not my favourite track. This lap guide is for the GNR Designs League, GTE League. If you are watching this and you're not part of the league already, please feel free to jump into the description. We've got a link to the GNR Designs Discord there. Jump in, come and join the league. Just so you know, it's competitive. Obviously, we want to win the championship, but the league is designed around learning racecraft, getting feedback, having a good time. There's no money on it. It's a very low entry fee, and the entry fee is only so that we can run the thing. So please do get involved. That'd be great. All right, now on to the lap. So coming down the straight, first thing is obviously on the straight. You want to be taking the least possible distance between the previous corner and the next corner. So a diagonal line down here is best. We'll just fast forward through that. Now, a couple of things. In a GT3, you would be braking about here somewhere. GTEs have a little bit more downforce. So your braking point is where the concrete wall changes direction slightly down here. So if you hit the brakes there, and you are going to be moving quite quickly into the first turn. By the way, this is a 156.1. I've made a couple of mistakes on this lap. A 55 is definitely possible. If you're looking for any further advice, feel free to hit me up. Jump either into the Discord or into the comments here, and I'm happy to try as best I can to clarify anything. So yeah, 6th gear at the moment. Ooh, have I hit the brakes? I have hit the brakes. Let's go back a bit. So 6th gear on the way up here, only just 6th gear to be fair. You could probably hold 5th in this car. Now obviously the other thing is this is the Chevy. It will be slightly different for different cars, but the braking points should be broadly similar. The lines should be pretty much the same. So yeah, coming up, hitting the brakes, reference point being that change in the concrete, getting as wide as we can, obviously without hitting the wall. It's very small brake. You hit the brakes, take a bit of speed off, back to 4th gear. There's a little bit of trail braking on the way in. These things do have some downforce, but not a huge amount. This is a really difficult corner, actually. What I'll do after this is I'll go to chopper cam so you can see the line. And what you want to do is be as close to the wall as possible and be on the power as early as possible and carry as much speed as possible. You can see I haven't even got to the apex yet. And there's a huge amount of power on. The power actually brings the rear around at the start and then causes a little bit of oversteer afterwards. But you want to be at full power as quickly as possible. Again, not quite right this one for me, but pretty close. So this was my fastest lap. Actually, we will just have a quick look at. So there you go, an optimal of 55.8, and I lost 0.04 in this first sector. And obviously, I made a mistake in the 5th one there. So that explains that. All right, so yeah, flat. You want to use as much of the exit as possible out here without getting an off track. This is, believe it or not an off track. Only just, not an off track. But you want to be as just carrying as much speed as possible through there. So we'll do that on chopper cam to show you the line, because the corner goes forever. So let's have a look at chopper. Oops, yep, that'll do. So you can see really wide, really wide. I don't know where the camera's going. Interesting. Oh, that's blue. Okay, chopper. So we'll do it in slow-mo. Really wide, turning in right from the concrete wall. Trail brake until it's settled. Power on, power. Get it set. Power fully on. Really wide. And again, using as much liberty as possible with the track, but not the whole thing. All right, cool. Turn 1, done. Chase. All right, now come back across to the left a bit, or I do. Come back across to the left because then you want to line up as much as possible. You want to be in a straight line for the braking event down here. To turn 2, braking point is about halfway between the 3 cones and the two cones. And we've discussed this before. The visual reference is halfway, but you do start braking slightly earlier and at full brake at that point. These cars do lock up. You do have to be a little bit careful. So fairly heavy braking event. Coming down to second gear in the Chevy, might be first in other cars. Turn-in point is just near this first cone. Turning in, trail braking, pretty heavy trail here. And the interesting thing is the apex is not here, the apex is over here. So you trail brake quite long, and what you want to do is try to get your car as pointed. So if you have a look where the car is pointed, it is not pointed there, it's pointed over there, because you want to be straightening up the exit here and getting the power down as quickly as possible. The other thing is these cars slide quite a lot, so you need to be a bit careful. Second gear in this car, once you have it pointed where you want it, start getting on the power, very easy to slide again. Get your wheel as straight as you can, as quickly as you can, power down as quickly as you can, and then you should be, oh look at that, I'm not actually full throttle because I'm controlling wheel spin here. Normally, so again I've made a small mistake here, normally you'd want to be a bit straighter on exit and you'd want to be on full throttle, but not quite in this case. So power down, as soon as you can get the power fully on, do so. Now the other thing here is you want to be on the right hand side here, so rather than the traditional line through here, rather than coming out and kind of going wide out there, you don't want to do that, you want to stay on the right. So staying on the right, still with as much power as possible, and then braking point, but it's not a big brake, it's really just a wash off speed and trail brake at the end of this curb, and then trail braking in, trail braking, and then using power to balance the rear of the car from the point that you've got it kind of pointed where you want it. I'm saying that a lot in this. The other thing that's really important to note, the concrete has more grip than the asphalt. So you can be faster, even though it's bumpier and it's kind of annoying and the car bounces around. There's more grip on the asphalt, on the concrete than the asphalt. So it's something to keep in mind. You can actually be faster. The more you're on the concrete, the better. Similar in terms of line to the corner before, in that you are apexing really late because you want to get the best possible exit. Again, controlling wheel spin, so looking at the throttle trace there, I'm not just flat. This car likes to spin up the rears, so controlling the throttle as soon as possible, straightening the wheel and getting on the throttle, and then you're on a straight. Obviously, it's a curved straight, so you take as little distance as possible whilst not scrubbing off speed. Coming back across to the left, and then the next braking event is up to the hairpin. So I don't know what turn it is, I lose track. Braking again midway, or the visual reference is midway between the 4 cones and the 3 cones. I'm going to try and not use the word again for any more of this. So here we go, yep, hitting the brakes. Full brake at the visual reference, so you're actually touching the brake slightly earlier with your full braking event at midway. It's very simple, it's just as much brake as you can get on it, staying as far to the left as you can, washing off speed as much as you can, getting down to first gear, and then it's a trail brake in to the right hand side, clipping the curb. Here you don't want, and it's a late entry and a kind of V-shaped exit, you don't want to get your wheels all the way over here. It bounces the car and then you lose traction and lose exit speed. So to be fair, I have a, if you ever go and watch one of Jack Ashton's or Tommy Patero's guided laps, they trail brake a little bit longer than I do. I tend to use a little bit of throttle to just make that final adjustment to the car. You know, And ultimately, Tommy and Jack quicker than me, so go ask them how they do it. Now, again, I used the word again. No. Controlling the throttle, controlling wheel spin. This car likes to spin its wheels. I'm pretty sure in the Porsche you could use more throttle here and it wouldn't spin the rears, but this car likes to spin its rears. So controlling throttle until we've got enough lock off on the wheel and then onto the throttle as quickly as we can. There we go. And even then there's a little correction. Okay, from there it's as straight a line as possible all the way through this kind of wiggly straight. So coming around here, you stay to the right as much as you can, and then you drive a diagonal line because the hypotenuse is the shortest distance, down to the next one, and then you hug the left as much as you can, like don't go too wide because you just want to travel as little distance as possible, getting back across to the left. I find this a really tricky braking area here. I struggle a bit here, so again, feel free to ask if you've got any questions, but the braking point is halfway between the 4 and the 3 cones. Bit of a theme here. Fairly heavy braking event. There's a bump in the middle of it as well, so you can't go fully. Lifting off, I personally am taking down first gear. You could take this corner in second, but I prefer the rotation. Turning in point is just around about the end of the outside curb. Same as all the others, you hit the concrete there. Concrete has more grip, so the car will turn better at this point, but bounce around more. And apex is towards the end of the curb, not in the middle of the curb. A bit of a theme with this track. Late entries, late apex, straight line exits. Very easy to spin up the rear wheels here. So again, lots of throttle control, and I just said the word again, sorry. Lots of throttle control. Once you've got it settled, I could have taken a little bit more exit here and it wouldn't have made a huge difference, but a slightly, and I mean very slightly, tighter exit opens up this little corner down here a bit, which I personally like. Doesn't seem to make any difference in terms of lap time overall. I have seen a lap guide by Mark Calver in a GT3 and he smashes these curbs here. He just goes over there. I feel, for me, Mark Calver is a 9K driver and he's much better than me. For me, I don't feel like I'm in complete control if I do that, so I don't do that. But it's an option depending on the car. So this is a bit of a funny one. There's 3 or 4 different ways you can do this. You can swing wide and try and have a really straight braking point down here, or you can go right and try to take off as much distance as possible. For whatever reason, I find that somewhere in the middle works for me. Braking point is, for me, again, and you might find that your braking point is slightly different. My braking point, visually I'm looking between the 2 cones, but you can see that I'm starting to brake quite early here. Another corner where the exit is far more important than the entry because there's a long full throttle area on the end. Turning in before you get to the concrete, so there's less grip as you turn in, and then when you get to the concrete there's more grip. So the car will grip up there, you can actually see that it grips up there, but it also bounces heaps. So I might just do that at a bit quicker speed just to kind of demonstrate the point. So moving in, hits the concrete and turns and bounces all at the same time. I will also just show the lap from inside the cockpit at the end if you're interested. This one I haven't quite got right. Needed to get a little bit further to the right there. Needed to get the throttle on a little bit earlier. And car's bouncing around a bit. You can see there's a little bit of hesitation in the wheel and the throttle. But ultimately it's come out okay. Using all the curb on the left. Full throttle down here. Diagonal to this little kind of apexy thing here. And then a sweeping left around here, using as little distance as possible, but making sure that when we come through here, we're as far to the left as possible, not out to the right. back to the left. Braking point is somewhere between the 3 and the 2. I tend to brake a little early here. I like to settle the car. You know, Jack and Tommy tend to brake a little early too. You can brake at the 2 if you wish, but you will compromise your exit. So braking there, down to 3rd gear. In this car you could do it in 2nd if you wanted more rotation. I'm using trail braking instead to get that rotation. Trail braking, trail braking, trail braking. Once I've got the car settled and I'm happy with where it is, this is the sector where I lost a little bit of time, so you could do this better. If you drop in these cars, in the GT3s, you can put your right hand wheels all the way over here, and it doesn't really bounce on the way out. These cars bounce, so no putting your wheels over this curb, but you can put your wheels on this curb, and it'll save you a little bit of distance. Coming out of this corner, powered down, trying to get some power down anyway, but you don't want to go all the way across to the left because it compromises the next bit, and this is a key part of the lap up here. The next corner, so that, I mean, that's a relatively simple corner, I guess. It's just a standard sweeper, except that you want to be further to the right on exit than you would normally if you're going onto a straight line. So as soon as you've got it settled from the previous corner and still with throttle on, turning left and turning left hard to bring the car across and jumping the curb. Effectively, this is a weird corner where you're allowed to go all the way out here on the concrete. You want to use the concrete because it's got more grip than the asphalt. You want to open the corner up as much as you possibly can. For me, I hit the curb. When I hit the curb and I'm jumping the curb, I'm starting to get on the brakes. You can actually see from these skid marks here that I'm hitting the brakes basically in the air, and as it lands, it's doing a little bit of a skiddy. So braking now, not taking off a huge amount of speed, just really trail braking to get the nose pointed where I want it more than anything else. And where I want the nose pointed is about here somewhere. I did try, so in a GT3 and a Porsche or something, you can drop your wheels over the side of this curb. In the GTEs, at least the Chevy, you know, I found that makes the car bounce. So trying to get the car lined up for the exit of this turn as much as possible to get the power down as early as possible. So the apex is very late. You can clip the curb, but it can unsettle the car. Power down as early as possible and straighten the wheel as much as possible, letting the car run as wide as you like up over this curb. Makes a huge noise, but it's fine. And then we're on our straight. So the exit of that previous corner is super important. Then straight line. I'm sure you all know how to drive a straight line. Staying to the left. Okay, now you turn into this corner before you brake, but it's kind of not a turn into the corner. It's more an adjustment to the line. So and I'll do this one again in helicam so you can kind of see the line and how it all works out. But what you do is line up the car in as straight a line as possible with this wall and wide out there, because the braking event here starts when you're kind of in the corner already. So you line your braking reference is that single cone, hitting the brake there in as straight a line as possible. The wheel is hardly turned, so I'm not actually turning. This is not yet the corner. Braking in a straight line, letting it go wide under braking, and now the braking's, well, now I'm onto the trail braking aspect, so my braking's done and now I turn in. There are about 3 different possible apexes here. It's not this one. So the first one is a concrete wall. It's not that one. Then the next one is another concrete wall just under the bridge. It is this one. This is your apex. Bring it back in, and it's a really wide exit corner, so you can see that from the moment I've got the car pointed towards the apex, I'm already on throttle. So throttle, throttle, throttle. You're balancing the car on throttle the whole way through here. Third gear for me. Could do it in second if you really wanted to. Third gear, and at this apex, you're trying to get to full throttle, and you're trying to hold full throttle. Obviously, I've made a small mistake. You're trying to hold full throttle all the way through. Staying a little bit tight here if you can. Don't let it wander too far, because there's a huge bump just there that unsettles the car. It feels like you're going to spin every time, but these cars have downforce, so they're not going to spin. Letting it run really, really wide, opening up the steering as far as you can, taking it all the way to the wall, hitting the bouncy thing, and still in fourth gear, flat out, down the straight, crossing the line, 156.1. As I say, definitely a 55 in it. I will now shut up and allow you to watch that from the cockpit. Let's make sure we actually get the right one. Very often I don't. Okay, I'll shut up. Okay, there you go. A 156.186. Now, Garrett and Maurice, can you please, for the practice sessions, fix the fuel tank? Because what I had to do was drive around for 20 laps and get rid of the fuel so I could send a representative lap. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope this helps. See you in the league. Thanks so much. Good luck. Look forward to racing you.